determination to change the nation. I'm manifesting the truth. Back in the booth to give you the messages that's been channeling right through me. No, I'm not Jesus, although my spirit is great. I'm eating my food without a plate, escaping this place through my meditations. New life begun when I reloaded the gun and realized where I was from was not too far from the sun. Like somewhere close by the moon. Now I'm connected like Zoom. On walks of life that ever lived call me like out of the blue. So I just pass it to you, right through your speakers with clues. And if you choose to free your mind, then you will have all the tools. But I can't make you take it and shake it and mentally break yourself out. Cause freeing your mind without a doubt is something you have to try out. But once you see the light, your might, and all the power you've had, then you have reached the fifth dimension and you can brighten your path. But others who choose to follow the red pills, it's harder to swallow. Or you can wallow in your sorrows, feeling all empty and hollow. The only way you'll see the truth is if it's starting with you. So please stop lying to yourself, start being truthful to you. The only way you'll see the truth is if it's starting with you. So please stop lying to yourself, start being truthful to you, to you.
Yo, yo, yo. What's good? How y'all doing this evening? I see Michelle and Shay. Yo, yo, yo. Man, I appreciate y'all tuning in. You know what I like about that intro video and that even that song. Both of those beats, my son made those beats. And I'm just thankful for my son. I appreciate you, bro. Hey, Miss Jean. Yeah, so today we will be talking about Vivian Strong. So most of y'all know the history, know the story, but what today I want to talk about is what happened after the story, like after the shooting, and the instances in between, like the way the community fought back, and then compare it to the stuff we're seeing today to see how much progress have we actually made, like how much, the fight, how is the fight different from what it was then compared to now, so yeah, that's what we're going to be doing today. So I appreciate y'all tuning in. It's educational a little bit today. So yeah, first let's just start off with, I think since most of y'all, if my regular audience, y'all do know the story of Vivian, and y'all do know that a few years ago that I found out that she was my cousin. Her father and my grandfather were brothers. Okay, so that's the connection. And so yeah, I'm gonna just play this brief video for the people who don't know what happened, and that way y'all can kind of have a understanding of what I'm talking about, and then yeah, we'll go from there. Okay, so give me 1 second. I'm gonna pull this on up for y'all. There it is. Okay, give me a second there. All right. So, and that happened here in Omaha, Nebraska. Today's date, June 24th, 1969. Okay. That happened here in Omaha. And what followed was a bunch of different stuff, but I want to give you, I'm gonna give y'all this. I'm gonna play this for y'all real quick just so we can get this stuff out the way, and then we'll go into the articles that I pulled up. Okay. All right.
Reporting in North Omaha, John Kipper.
Otherwise, we're not
In the decade,
Otherwise, we're not going to have law and order.
as opposed to earlier in the
Strong, 14 years old, was running strong. 14.
Omaha girl, Vivian Strong,
Viv
got to a breaking point. This time it involved a young Omaha girl, Vivian Strong.
Vivian Strong, 14 years old, was running down the alley when an officer pulled out his gun and discharged his weapon, immediately killing the girl.
The officer involved, James Loader, eventually was acquitted by an all-white jury.
At least one of the jurors was quoted afterwards as saying, well, it was a tough decision, but I feel like we have to support the police.
Okay. It's happening real fast. It's unfolding. So I just want to digest a little bit of this real quick. Okay. Yeah, they were at Logan Fondell Projects. A door was left open. The kids were in there dancing, playing music, and somebody called the police and said they thought it was a break-in. Police show up. The kids run out. He shot her in the back of the head while she was running away. The all-white jury, just like he just said, this lady said, she felt like they had to support the police. Okay.
Decision, but I feel like we have to support the police. Otherwise, we're not going to have law and order.
As opposed to earlier in the decade, in 1969, Omaha leaders like Gene Leahy took a law and order approach.
The idea is just to clamp down, to throw police at the problem, to fund them deeply.
The riots destroyed many businesses, some black-owned, some white. All three historians I spoke with say the protests and riots were a visible sign that Omaha had racial issues similar to the South.
While they weren't putting up signs necessarily that said whites only, were very determined to keep things the way that they were.
Here is this giant uprising, but if you had just listened to what Black people had been saying for years prior, we would not have had to have this.
Now, after the riots, it was very tough for a black business owner to reopen in North Omaha. Banks wouldn't loan them money, and insurance companies would be reluctant to insure them down here. Therefore, in turn, the North Omaha economy was stifled for years to come.
Stifled for years to come. So it's 2026, and that was 1969. How many years is that, y'all? Do y'all know? Stifled for years to come. 57 years. And it still looked the same way. And the reason why, of course, today is the day, but the reason why I really wanted to go through this, because I want y'all to see the fight that North Omaha had. Okay, so let's dive into these articles. But honestly, when you think about that and you look at it, today, that same thing is happening where the officers are killing children and they're justified for killing the children. Okay. Let's pull this up here. So this picture right here is a picture of the projects back then, where it happened at. For those of you who are born and raised here, this is a familiar picture. Yeah, they kind of doubled down, like she said. The Gene Leahy mall that y'all so frequently visit, he was the mayor at the time. And instead of, trying to have some kind of justice for Vivian, he doubled down on law enforcement and just threw more officers at the issue. They allowed those fires to burn for days. And the same people who said that is now buying up the land behind our backs. Yeah. Yeah. Let's look at this next picture here. These images of the projects, man, it just brings so much back for me. But I'm often reminded of this tragedy because of it's continuously happening all the time still now with the murders, and there's no accountability. Let me stop that. So here's a picture of, just so y'all know, we did, well, not me personally, I did not get the street renamed. I was brought into a project with Dr. Franklin Thompson and my family, and we got a street renamed where it happened at, right down off of 21st Street. So yeah, that was one thing. But let's dive into this picture right here. Sorry if feel like I'm lagging, because it's kind of tough, you know, with it being your family. Sometimes it's tougher to talk about, but I think it's important to talk about because it's today and we need to know. So this is the funeral from the day of. Hey, Brother Jahi. And I am encouraging any of the elders, if you want to, call in and share how you felt during that time, because I wasn't even born when this happened. You can call my cell at 402-968-5012. And I'll put you live on with everybody. She said, take your time. Thank you. I appreciate that. So yeah, this was the funeral, the day of the funeral. And I don't know, like look at it. Look at everybody there. It's a somber moment. Let me open this one. It's just, yeah. Yep, I'm getting it together. Let me open this. All right, so this article, this first one I'm gonna share with y'all is from the Omaha Star. Right here. Okay, so I don't want to get it too close. Right here. Black outraged citizens list 10 demands following the death of the 14-year-old girl. Okay. And I'm going to make it a little bit bigger just so y'all can see. All right. A group of 30 angry, outraged Black citizens, led by nationally renowned grassroots activist Ernie W. Chambers. That's right. It was Ernie Chambers. Wednesday morning presented Mayor Eugene Leahy with a list of 10 demands growing out of the fatal shooting Tuesday night of 14-year-old Vivian Strong by a white police officer. Full text of the demands as follows, okay? So see, they on it. This community at that time, they were not playing, and look who was leading it right now, Ernie Chambers. So while people still criticize Ernie Chambers, when you was probably still in your father's ball sack, Ernie Chambers was out here representing for the people, okay? Number one, immediately condemn the senseless and unnecessary murder. Number two, immediately relieve the cop of duty, because a few months ago, Chief Anderson laughed or scoffed at a writing complaint against the same officer for threatening a busload of Black junior high pupils with his pistol drawn. Okay? He threatened a busload of Black junior high pupils with a pistol drawn. Number 3, petition the city of Omaha and the Nebraska legislature to grant the mother of the deceased, Sharon Strong, $100,000 compensation for the death of her child. Number 4, order the county attorney to file murder charges against the cop. Number 5, order the county attorney to file murder charges. Number 5, obtain a federal indictment against the cop for violation of the civil rights of Sharon Strong. Number 6, order the taking of a complete statement, not only from Patrolman Jimmy Smith, who was also at the scene, but from all witnesses available. Number 7, ensure witnesses are against intimidation from the police and or their agents. Number 8, keep all white cops out of the black community altogether. That's what Ernie said. Number 9, in all caps, by the way, avoid senseless, needless, and provocative shows of force, such as that ordered by Lieutenant Roberti at 24th and Decatur and 24th and Clark Street. Number 10, take disciplinary action against Lieutenant Roberti for losing control of the cops under his command at the location mentioned above. No order, encourage, or allow, now order them, no encourage, allow them to threaten or swear at people walking by. You can't, don't break glass from the door of the easy drive-through liquor store with butts of shotguns while pointing muzzles at the people. Thrust shotgun muzzles in the windows of people driving through the area and threatening to shoot them. This is North Omaha on this day, okay? Level of machine gun. So basically they saying on that day, one of the officers had a machine gun pointing at Ernie Chambers during the conversation with Lieutenant Roberti. And it was a patrolman, Jernigan, had the weapon and stated that he could do what he wanted to when Chambers suggested to the lieutenant that the muzzle be lowered. But when the lieutenant was unable to control Jernigan and have him lower the weapon, people witnessed the incident, and they started destroying stuff on inside of the easy drive-through liquor store, hoping to draw the guns away from Ernie Chambers because the officer was pointing his gun at him. So again, here they are just upset over a 14-year-old getting murdered, and they turn around and threaten them, okay? Mayor Eugene Leahy will appear at a public meeting Monday morning, June 30th, 10:15 at Malcolm X Memorial, Coons Park, Florence Boulevard, and Pinckney. At the time, Leahy will present his feelings on police department policies and show his concern for human needs. The meeting was scheduled during a closed door session Leahy had with a group of 60 angry and outraged black citizens and white and black ministers in the city council chamber. Also participating in the meeting, barred to members of the press, was Police Chief Richard Anderson. Okay. So here's that complaint that they was talking about that was filed earlier against Loader. Late in February, Daniel W. Goodwin, an original Goodwin, not the Goodwin we got elected now, owner of the Spencer Street Barbershop, filed with police officials a complaint against Patrolman James L. Loader, the police officer who was charged in killing a 14-year-old Vivian Strong. Goodwin's complaint had to do with the conduct of Loader in the parking lot of Horseman Junior High School. According to Goodwin, basically he pointed that gun on the bus of the people, of the kids, and so that was one of the earlier complaints. Okay, so he technically shouldn't have even been working in North Omaha, especially after doing something like that, right? She says, geez, yeah, this dude was out of control. And again, they doubled down on making sure this man was able to get his job back. Okay? So let's go to the case of where, let me see this one right here. I think this is it. Okay. Yeah, this is it right here. So of course he enters a not guilty plea. And I want to show y'all some of these pictures. Anybody recognize where this is at right here? They said it's a crowd gathered at the ball field near the housing projects. This is 24th Street on fire. Okay. This is them arresting people. Northside businesses hit by fire bombs. Okay. Let's go up here. Policeman enters a plea of innocent. Patrolman James Loader entered a plea of not guilty Wednesday of a charge of manslaughter. So they didn't even charge him with murder. They charged him with manslaughter. Of shooting a 14-year-old girl in the back of the head is manslaughter? Tuesday night shooting of Vivian Strong, a 14-year-old Negro girl. Of course, that's how they talk back then. Loader, 30, a member of the police force, 2.5 years. Is that 2.5 years? Yeah. He posted a $500 bond set by the municipal court judge Walter H. Cooper. Earlier Wednesday, Mayor Leahy said he will make a public appearance at 10:15 a.m. at Coons Park to present his feelings on the police department policies and to show his concerns for human needs. Loader, represented by attorney James J. Vance, a North 24th Street business area, was burning late Wednesday night as disturbances flared for the second night near the north side, second straight night. Firemen were being hampered into entering the area. Who sent you people up here? The chief asked. He told one of the patrolmen, John Riddler, to return to his normal duty station on his first floor of City Hall. So that they were telling the fire people, who sent you? Who told you to come? Go back. They just wanted it to burn. The rest of you get out of here, said the chief. Because of the criminal charge against Loader, Douglas County Attorney Donald L. Knowles declined to release the patrolman's statement on the case. So let me see. This is a story that happened, probably won't be known until trial. Loader, who is white, and a Negro patrolman, James Smith, responded at 10:05. He's Hetty's son. So Patrolman James Loader is the adopted son of movie actress Hetty Lamar. City Employee Records show his father is actor John Loader. John Loader and Miss Lamar were married in 1943. They was divorced in 1947. James Loader was adopted by Miss Lamar during her marriage to John Loader. In Miss Lamar's 1966 autobiography, she talks about adopting James Loader. Detective Inspector Glenn said when the patrolman pulled up at the scene, a group of young people ran. One 17-year-old youth was booked as a state witness and released. Gay said one shot was fired. It hit Vivian, 14-year-old, the daughter of Miss Casey Strong, who is divorced and lives at a nearby unit, 1708 North 21st Avenue. The girl was dead upon arrival at County Hospital. Rock throwing and vandalism resulted on the north side. After the shooting, several places were entered. Glenn L. Sidney, 30, of 2762 Lake Street, was charged with burglary in connection with a reported break-in at the Thrifty Package Store, 2502 North 24th Street. I don't know if that's one of y'all people, but he was breaking in buildings. There's one I really want to get to right here. Open web. Look at this one right here. So Free Loader will try to get his job back on the police force. So not only did he only get charged with manslaughter, not only did he get found not guilty of the manslaughter, but he wanted to be reinstated. James Loader, appearing tired but happy, said Tuesday afternoon he could never be anything but a police officer, and he will seek immediate reinstatement as an Omaha patrolman. He felt like the verdict was just and fair, and in a brief interview after his acquittal, he said he wanted to thank his attorney, Paul Watts, and Joseph J. Vance, and all those who stood with him in his final hours of his manslaughter trial. And he talking about he extend his sympathy. But an all-white 6-man, 6-woman jury announced its decision of not guilty at 2:50 p.m., and the panel was out nearly 24 hours and spent approximately 12 hours in deliberations after receiving the case. So it only took them 12 hours to find this man not guilty of shooting a little girl in the back of the head while she ran away. Now, I want y'all to look at this article right here, because we still to this day have issues with the Omaha Police Officer Union. And back then, look what they did. The police union started a Loader Defense Fund. The Omaha Police Union voted Monday night to establish a defense fund for Patrolman James Loader, charged with manslaughter in connection with the fatal shooting of a 14-year-old Negro girl. Union President Robert Bragg, speaking at a press conference following an 11-hour meeting, said the fund was launched with a $1,000 contribution from the union. He said interested citizens have pledged an additional $2,200. We feel that Loader is entitled to the best legal counsel available. He added the vote to establish the fund was unanimous among the 278 officers attending the special meeting, open to both union members and non-members. Loader, who is white, was charged after Ms. Strong was shot last Tuesday night in the area of the Logan Fontenelle homes while he and his partner were answering a break-in call. He is free on a $500 bond. Members of the union have contacted by businessmen and citizens expressing an interest to the defense fund of Loader. So the business people in the area and the union was the union was contacted by businessmen and citizens expressing interest in donating to his defense fund. The fact that that man Loader was suspended and fired is no indictment that he is guilty or not guilty, said Bill K. Bloom, the union's business representative. This will be decided in court. When asked how union members feel about the filing of the manslaughter charges, Bloom replied, obviously, we do not agree. This is why we set up the fund. Bloom said Police Chief Richard Anderson attended the meeting and the union officers met with Eugene Leahy. The chief attended the meeting and they said the vote was unanimous. How would we ever was going to get justice if the chief was in the meeting and he unanimously voted to start a fund for the officer who was charged with shooting a 14-year-old girl in the back of the head on this day today in 1969 in Omaha, Nebraska? And you are right to think we might work with these people. A lot of backhanded bullshit, and their descendants is around. Okay? Bloom said Police Chief Richard Anderson attended the meeting. Many things were discussed besides the Loader case. He said the union will present some specific recommendations on some of the problems within the police department, referring to Loader case and the civil disturbances that followed. But lines of communications were open. Right. And it's crazy that you say it pisses you off. And I know why, because for one, this is bullshit. And for two, what has changed from now till then? Somebody tell me. I don't know. Y'all tell me what has changed from 1969 in Omaha from now until then. Anybody tell me? I don't know. I don't see no comment. Oh, she said nothing. She said nothing. Yeah. So let's look right here. They definitely held him on the death um, of the gun death, but they fired him and they met up and nominated or still wanted to give him the money. So I'm trying to figure out for us, where was the justice for a 14-year-old innocent girl getting shot in the back of the head, running from a police officer? So this article just goes over, just the same thing, the death of it. Okay, just making sure. See what's this next one right here, because there's one I really want y'all to see with talking about the mayor in that meeting that they were supposed to have. Okay. This is one right here where the fire, the community was firebombed. So I think once all the unrest started happening, there were I don't know if people were like in the community bombing their own community, or was these outsiders, just coming in to provoke it, and were they bombing? But here's an article where they was talking about the victim was always on the go. She was a typical teenager, always pulling at the traces. She had a heart condition and was supposed to rest. That was our big problem. She wouldn't rest. This was Vivian Strong, 14, as seen by one who knew her, Principal Mary J. Jenkins at Conestoga School. That's where she went to school. Others remember her as a distant girl, very mature for her age, who seldomly confined in her teachers, but apparently was liked by students who knew her. We like to tell her to rest, and we have to lie her down and cover her up. As soon as we walk away, she'd get up and go. She was sick and tired of having to rest, Ms. Jenkins said. But they said Vivian was often absent. Ms. Jenkins said Vivian got average grades or slightly before she left Conestoga a year ago to enter the 7th grade at Tech High. She wasn't a barn burner on grades at Tech. She missed too much school. She was out more than she was in, she said, one of the junior high teachers said. But remember, she had a heart condition, so that's why she was missing a lot of school. The two girls are amongst 8. So Vivian was with Carol, and Carol was with her when she got shot. Records at Tech High School show that Vivian was born the day before Christmas in 1954. She was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Records indicate that the Strong family moved from Fairhope, Alabama to Philadelphia and later to Omaha. Tech Junior High principal Julia Plumley and Vivian was an average student. Younger sister Carol also had attended the 7th grade at Tech. Carol described by her principal as a very fine little student, and that Vivian hoped to become a secretary and planned to take a commercial course in high school. Most likely paid outsiders. Yeah, actually. I think it did get worse, and we did go backwards. Okay, and it is a lot to unpack, because I mean, for me, when I look at this and I see this stuff, it's the comparison of what we're going through right now is not far off. So then it makes me question, for us, what are we doing as far as our fight in the community? Has things changed with the way they treat us, or has they changed the way it looked, the way to make it look like it changed, right? Because I don't really believe it changed. And like Alicia said, nothing has changed. I don't think nothing changed. Looking up this other article real quick. But so this mayor, and if he did such a wrong thing by doubling down on the law and order part, why did we turn around and then give him a mall named after him after he allowed the fires to burn and doubled down on arresting people for the death of Vivian and the way they reacted? Explain that. Okay. Why did we do that? Why? Because the city of Omaha still love him. They appreciate him. He was the mayor. Even though he did wrong by us, we still go and patronize his little mall that they dedicated to him. And he did wrong by us. And our kids is down there right now to this day fighting and stuff. Maybe that's why. You know? Maybe that's why. We don't know. So this is about thousands mourn the slain Negro girl. More than 2,000 people paid their respect to Vivian Strong Sunday morning, to Robert L. Myers of Myers Funeral Home. He said a count was kept as a line headed its way to the mortuary to about 10 o'clock to 10 p.m. Wow, that's a long time. Visits tapered off early Monday morning because of the weather. Funeral services for the 14-year-old Negro girl killed by a police officer Tuesday night were to be the attention at the Greater Bethlehem Temple at the burial site of Mount Hope Cemetery. So that's where she's buried at. A City Hall press conference Monday, Mayor Leahy said he feels action taken by the police department and the city regarding the disturbances have been correct up to this point. That's what I was looking for. He's agreeing that doubling down and arresting people was the way to go when this man shot and killed a 14-year-old girl on this day today, June 24th, 1969. He said that increased communication between the police and community and between black and white is needed to avoid further violence. Certainly no one wants to see anyone killed, the mayor said. Police Chief Richard R. Anderson, also present, said it would be in violation of city charter and the federal law to assign an all-black policeman to the near north side. So they telling you right there, we're not going to give y'all all-black police officers. Y'all keep talking about that. We're not doing that. Okay? You cannot assign by race, he said. Earlier, the mayor met with a delegation of 15 Negro women. He said the main complaint was that Negroes feel that they are discriminated against by police. The mayor said the grievances will be studied and analyzed. Not action taken, studied and analyzed. Okay? So Sunday night, it said it was quiet on the north side except for an incident in which a policeman wounded a young man who police said ignored orders to halt. And so they wounded him. There was guns found in the car of people back then carrying concealed weapons. Albert L. Ellington, 43. Rose M. Cochran, 36. Negroes arrested Sunday night for having guns in their car. A shotgun was found in the backseat of the woman's car. Said Ellington had a 38 caliber in his pocket. That's how we got down back then. I don't know what happened now. But back then, that's what our elders did. 66 people was arrested. 2 Negro airmen were arrested near 13th Street. They had a 22 caliber in the car. The men stationed at Office Air Force Base was returning from a party, but they was in the area. And they got arrested. Edmund C. Goodwin, 21. Jerry Major, but just for being in the area. Okay? I don't know about now, but then them brothers didn't play. They got their guns and they took to the streets. And what's crazy is the police doubled down. Oh, no, Shay, we can't police ourselves. No, that's not going to happen. We can't police ourselves. Right. Because in their mind, there can't be a white officer there. In their mind, I mean, it can't be black officers in the black community. And you see it right now still, even though they don't relate to us, they still in our community. So then they start begging because at that time, black people were so mad that they wouldn't stop rioting and tearing stuff up. And so they put out a plea, what they call it, plea for racial peace. Always doing something, then you want to call for us to be peaceful, right? Vivian Strong, who 14 buried at Mount Hope Cemetery, followed by prayers from the Greater Bethlehem Temple. 200 mourners filled the tiny white church at 25th and Erskine Street. Outside, about 125 people listened as Reverend James Foster, I know some of y'all might know who Reverend Foster is, eulogized the slain child and cascaded the giants. He said, "We're responsible for her death." That's what he said. I believe if this child could rise up to make a short speech, she would say, "Don't weep for me, weep for yourselves and your children. I have escaped this rat race that you are still in." Wow. Wow. Threats in bail case forced to move. Okay. So look at this. They threatened the judge over the $500 bail. Municipal Judge Walter H. Cooper said Monday he was moved out of his house because threats he received since setting James Loader bond at $500 in the Vivian Strong case. Cooper said a misunderstanding by some persons of the bail system has caused the threats. The misunderstanding, not him setting a $500 bail. But again, our people back then in Omaha on this day in 1969, June 24th, they made threats to the judges. Where did that go from us? We're soft. He said he was receiving many calls, some of them threatening plus threatening letters since the bond last Wednesday. Many felt his bond was too low. Loader is charged with manslaughter in last Tuesday's shooting, which triggered violence on Omaha's near north side. Now on suspension before being fired, he's awaiting trial. Judge Cooper said the threats were not made by thinking people. I don't think thinking people would try to destroy the judicial system by threatening the judge or damaging his home, the judge said. I think that people think the bond is some sort of revenge against a man. I don't hold a grudge against the people who threatened me. I think the bail system is misunderstood, and some lawyers don't even understand it. So this judge is not thinking, no, it's not because you set the bond. He said, I don't think these threats are being made by people who can think. Y'all are non-thinking people. I knew I had an emotional situation, but I don't know how tense it was until a man came up to me after bond setting and expressed his displeasure. Okay? The judge name? Oh, I don't think he's in that picture. But that judge is Judge Cooper. He said that's a slave heaven. Religion, Christianity, is white Jesus has forced upon our ancestors is the biggest problem. Okay. Let me take this one down. So, Shamala, where's that one? Let me see. Here it is. I think this is it. Oh, so that's the fund. No, where's that one at? But the main thing is, in comparison to these articles, and what I'll do is I'll post all of these articles so y'all can go through them, because there's other stories in these articles about other things that was happening around the time, but it's the same. Okay? It never changed. The way that they treated us then hasn't changed from now. Oh, there it is right there. That's the one I was looking for. Let's share this one, because they had the audacity to not only raise the money, but then they turned around and decided not to tell us who the donors were. Defense fund donors will not be revealed. Robert Bragg, president of the Omaha Police Union, said the union has received many calls from persons concerned about the names of the donor to a legal defense fund started earlier this week for suspended patrolman James L. Loader, charged with manslaughter. Bragg said Tuesday that due to circumstances surrounding the fund, names of the donor will be withheld unless they state specifically that their names can be released. The funds were started Monday after 278 officers voted. She said, I bet. Yeah. You didn't want us to know the names of the people who donated to this fund. Why? Because back then, they was about that shit. Okay? So my question is to us, what happened to us? What happened to our fight? What happened to our toughness? What happened to the revolutionary spirit when things happen in this community? And I'm not just talking about from the police. I'm talking about the interior terrorizing that's going on from our own people. When do we turn in killers? When do we stand up against the police? When do we see the signs of our child needs some help before something happened and they running around here doing crazy shit? When do we fight back to protect our community? So they did end up raising some money. And look, they gave him $300. Gave the family $300 for Vivian. And Loader, this was earlier on, 1756, but he ended up raising way more money. He didn't get interrogated. He was allowed to return back to the neighborhood that he policed. I got an article here. I had to pay for this subscription to get all these old articles. And so give me a second because I got so many of them. That's why it's taking me a moment. Look at this here. Loader wrote a letter, said, I am in no way prejudiced. Former police officer charged with manslaughter in connection with the June 24th shooting of 14-year-old Negro girl said Thursday he is in no way prejudiced as to race, color, or creed. Loader was charged in connection with the shooting of Vivian Strong that occurred while he and his partner were investigating an incident at Logan Fontenelle in the public housing. Loader is free on $500 bond. His statement was released in the form of a letter to his attorney, Joseph J. Vance of Omaha. In his letter, Loader, who is white, said while serving in the Air Force, he had a Negro roommate. I can't be racist. I had a Negro roommate. I'm not racist. My Negro roommate makes me not racist. Let that sink in. He also said that he had worked and entertained and been entertained by many blacks in the past. On the night of the shooting, his police partner was a Negro. My partner was a Negro. I've been entertained by Negroes. My roommate was a Negro. I'm not racist. His letter said the incident of June 24th, 1969 grieves him, not only for himself and his family, but the friends and family of Vivian Strong. Loader said that on the advice of his attorney, he would not go into matters involving the case. They printed that. That was printed in the newspaper. Do that make any sense to y'all? Let's share this one right here. He said they always got their token friend. That's right. Oh wow, he had a Negro roommate. That doesn't make anyone a friend or a black or brown man. Let's zoom this one up real quick, because this one right here is pretty interesting. Let's see. Because he testified in his own case. The officer with Loader testified. Okay. The partner of former patrolman James Loader, charged with manslaughter in the Vivian case. This is a black dude. Keep this in mind. Was a key witness today as the preliminary hearing in the fatal shooting of the 14-year-old Negro girl opened in municipal court. Patrolman James Smith, a Negro, said he was driving and Loader was with him in a cruiser about 10:25. June 24th, when a radio call came in about parties breaking in 1701 North 21st Avenue. Smith testified upon arrival at the apartment he saw a big individual and a smaller individual who seemed to be coming out of 1701. He said the short person got away, but that he was arrested, and the other person identified as Howard Nathaniel Bland, 17, who then lived at 1609 North 22nd Street. Tried to stop. Smith said that he, Loader, and Bland were standing on the sidewalk just south and west of 1701 when other individuals started running towards them from around the southeast corner of the apartment. Smith said that who the two persons saw, he don't know. The two persons saw the officers. They tried to stop one so suddenly the person fell to the ground. Smith said he took Bland back into the apartment for questioning, and Loader started to chase the other two, who turned around and started running eastward away from him. At the point, Smith said neither he or Loader had drawn their gun. Smith was carrying a nightstick and Loader was carrying a reported pad. There was a shot. Smith continued, and he said he thought it best to take Bland back to the cruiser. He did so, he said Loader came running towards him saying, "Jim, you better call the rescue squad and get some more cruisers here." Asked if he heard any kind of warning by Loader, Smith replied, "I believe the officer said something like halt or stop." Smith said after the shot, Loader took a container of chemical mace. Smith said a crowd gathered around the body. Attorneys for James Loader, Joseph J. Vance, and Paul Watts for the state, Douglas County Attorney Donald L. Knowles, and Lawrence Corrigan. On cross-examine, Vance questioned Smith about a statement given to Knowles the morning following the shooting. Vance told Judge Simon for permission to read for possible purposes of impeachment of Smith's testimony. Corrigan objected. Judge Simon withheld an immediate ruling. Bland, just before noon recess, testified that he was one of about 8 young people inside, including Strong, inside the apartment dancing. Harlan C. Renoir's project maintenance man said there had been at least 3 window breaking in the apartment. Albert Jones, police communication operator, said the dispatch to the apartment was to check juveniles possibly breaking in. This conflicted with parties' testimony of Smith. Knowles said the hearing to determine whether there is sufficient evidence to justify a district court trial is expected to continue through Wednesday. So the small courtroom at City County Hall was crowded. The parents of the dead girl, why they got to say that? The parents of the dead girl, Mr. and Mrs. James Strong, were divorced, but they were present. So was Reverend James Foster and General R. Woods. About 10 Negroes observed, including Ernie Chambers and David Rice. Shouts out to David Rice, both activists in the civil rights cause. Loader wore a green gabardine suit and followed proceedings internally. The shooting itself touched off 5 days of civil unrest and disturbances in the North Side. Loader was suspended for 15 days. He sought reinstatement by the personal board, but the board decided to withhold action pending the outcome. So here's the NAACP, the National Association for Advancement of Colored People, or the Never Assisting Any Colored People, asked the U.S. District Attorney Office Tuesday to take action against former patrolman Loader in the fatal shooting of Vivian Strong. An NAACP resolution asks the part that the United States Attorney for Nebraska be requested to institute necessary proceedings against Loader. Under federal statutes for violation of the civil rights of Vivian Strong, specifically the killing of infants of Strong on June 24th, 1969. The resolution was presented to Edward Fogarty, Assistant U.S. Attorney, by Ms. Kelsey B. Behars, a member of the NAACP Advisory Committee, St. Joe, Missouri. So they were working on it. Back then, the NAACP was going hard, clearly. And they were working on it. But still, again, since we know the story that nobody, I mean, he was acquitted and then allowed to come back. Oh, yeah, I'm going to definitely post y'all this one. This witnesses differ on Vivian Strong's presence at the party. So they basically are saying in this article that where she said a Fulton says 6 person ages 14 to 24 were dancing. They heard a voice say the police was coming. He ran out around the side of the apartment to get back through the rear door, and the boy ran back in to get his record player. He said he ran in to get his record player and the family and put his player into his apartment, and then he heard a shot outside. And they said, when was the last time you saw Vivian? Corrigan asked. In the apartment. And so basically they saying that Loader in this, let me see, is this the one where they talk about where she that he said he didn't say nothing, but then no, this ain't that. I gotta find that one with the witness testimony. Let me see. Took one of the 2 children to St. Joe. Okay, yeah, nope, this ain't the one. Let me look for it real quick. Hold on one second. Man, let me look at these comments. I see people commenting. After the Brown decision and segregation, Black parents fought for it, not what we got. Moreover, the Black controlled educational system educators were fired, plus the record of their successors were intentionally destroyed by white controlled school districts we were forced to attend. This is why we don't have Angela Davis, Huey P. Newton, Fannie Lou Hamer, Ernie Chamber, MLK, Malcolm X, Fred Hampton, Kwame Storky, Stokely Carline, Michael, the book, The Lost Education. Wow. Thank you for sharing that, brother. Let me open this real quick. Is this the one? Oh, nope, that's not it. I think that, okay, so this is the one I got labeled. Oh, yeah. So that ain't it either. Let me see. Yeah. I think when you really look at all of this and okay, so this is the hearing. How they continue the hearing. Let's just make sure this is the witness statement. Okay, yep, this is the one right here that I was looking for, Shamala. Okay. Do you want to read this one? Oh, you do? Oh, here, let me put the mic by you. Okay. Let me pull it over here for you and share it to the screen. Thanks. Maybe I can give you a drink of water. All right. So this is the one where I was talking about the confusion. All right. So if you want to start with, okay, this is where they try to give you dismiss his charges. So the judge denied the dismissal right here. Start right there.
Okay. Judge Simmons rejected 2 defense motions to dismiss charges against former patrolman James L. Loader Thursday and continue Loader's preliminary hearing until 10 a.m. Wednesday. Loader's attorneys called Acting Police Chief Walter DeVere, Public Safety Director Alfred P. and Patrolman Larry Anthony to testify before arresting their case. County Attorney Donald K. and his deputy Lawrence Corrig ended the prosecution's case shortly after the opening Thursday. the hearing's third day. Simon said he continued the hearing to allow the defense time to prepare its brief. A summary of law pertaining to the case, the state presented its brief earlier. Still to be heard are both sides' arguments on the briefs. Then will come Simon's decision on whether Loader 30 must stand trial in district court. He is charged in the June 24th slaying of Vivian Strong, a 14-year-old Negro, during the investigation of a break-in.
So, an investigation of a break-in. So here's the 3 warnings right here. A written statement Loader gave Corrigan some 3 hours after the shooting had been read into evidence earlier Wednesday by Detective Sergeant Blaine L. Berry. Here you go. One of those present. Right
One of those present when the statement was given. In it, Loader said he called out 3 times for the fleeing person to stop or I'll shoot.
Stop or I'll shoot for what? Little kids running out of apartment. Why are you drawing your gun talking about stop or I will shoot? I just don't understand that. What are you yelling stop or I'll shoot for? Okay, go ahead, Rosemary.
Rosemary McNeil, 26, said she saw Vivian at a swing set about 175 miles north of apartment 1701 as late as 10:15 p.m., 10 minutes before the cruiser received its call to investigate. Did you ever see Vivian Strong at 1701 North 21st Avenue Plaza? Watts asked. No, I didn't, Miss McNeil said. Simon dismissed the final 2 witnesses, Sarah Davis, 12, and Charlene Johnson, 24, after both began to sob while testifying.
So the kids and the young people on stage crying on the at court on the stand, and they dismissed them because they was crying during testimony. Go ahead.
Sarah started crying as she described seeing Vivian running across a grass field behind the apartment building containing 1701 just before she was shot. Miss Johnson lost her composure after she told of being investigated after she was invited to a record party at 1701 by Mickey Fulton, 14, a Central High student who testified Tuesday. Miss Johnson, who lived in a project at the time, said Vivian was among 6 persons dancing inside 1701. She said all ran out using both the front and back doors when some little girl, apparently Carol, came and said the police were coming.
So where was the threat for him to draw his firearm if they all took off running away? Where was the threat to draw the gun? There wasn't. On this day, June 26, 1969, after Loader shot that girl, my cousin, Vivian, in the back of the head, he shot and killed her. He was allowed to return. Now, I'm looking for the article where not only did he come back, he lasted for a few years. But let's get to this meeting with Gene Leahy, y'all, famous mayor, the park that everybody goes to visit, because I want to talk about that real quick because I found an article on that one too. All right, right here. Mayor hopes public meeting will be rescheduled. Rescheduled? So you didn't even have it. You didn't even have the meeting. Mayor Eugene Leahy Wednesday said that he plans to recommend that rescheduling of a public meeting scheduled for Monday, June 30th at Malcolm X Memorial Coons Park, at which he was present. He was supposed to present the My Feelings on Police Department Policies and to show his concern for human needs. Leahy called off the meeting, he said, because of riotous conditions existed later, which were not present when I agreed for the meeting. He agreed to the meeting last Wednesday morning during a closed-door session he had with a group of 60 angry and outraged Black citizens and Black and white ministers in the city council. Leahy said he was hopeful that the meeting could be held within 2 weeks. Then he said would allow him to completely analyze all complaints and give recommendations and conclusions of what's being done. The list of the 10 demands growing out of the fatal shooting of 14-year-old Vivian Strong by white police officers was presented to the mayor. He also received several verbal complaints about overreaction from the police. The United Methodist Community Centers expresses grave concern over the handling of the events subsequent to the death of Vivian Strong. The posting of a minimal bail and the release of the police officer involved seemed to reflect a serious disregard of an overwhelming community feeling. Over the past 3 years, as the result of 5 other deaths, the agency and the Black community has become convinced that the police are far too quick to use armed force in handling problems. What appears to be extremely flagrant abuse of police authority, just like Paul just said, the threat was to his authority because they can shoot you just for not doing what they say to do when they say to do it. Okay? So right here, they saying that same thing. All right? Over the past 3 years as a result of 5 other deaths. So what appears to be an abuse of police authority now ends in the loss of life over a young girl. This is followed by a court reaction that seems to have little compassion of what is at stake. We do not condone violence or any illegal means to express reaction to these events. We do challenge token reactions to the seriousness of the deaths of Vivian Strong. This came from United Methodist Community. And he's right. It needs to be a mini movie made. And like I said, I had to pay to get the subscription. Well, that one was not, what's his name by the family? It wasn't. They just did that. But I had to pay to get the subscription to get these papers. So you can't just look it up. So you're right. It should be a movie made, because based off what Carol said, there was never no explanation on why he was not charged. The family wasn't given an explanation. Carol never got seeing her sister die like that. She never received therapy. Okay. And so on this day, June 24th, 1969, we were fighting back for the death of a 14-year-old girl. Now, let me tell you something about today's compared to then. Do you know that when we was meeting up with the National Historic Society, the family, to find a place to place the marker, that the mayor sent 2 people to our family meeting to say she don't want a historical marker placed for Vivian on nothing that's city-owned property, because she said, when is it going to stop when people wanting markers placed up for police? It's a police-involved shooting. It's not something we should be marking as historic. She sent 2 brothers. And this ain't throwing people under the bus. I'm just telling y'all the truth, okay? She sent Tommy Warren and Q Station. They came to the meeting to tell us what she said. And so the marker couldn't be placed at the spot where she was shot and killed. Mike Maroney allowed it to be placed on his property. And that's why it's on 24th Street and not at the Logan Fontenelle projects where the street was renamed. Okay? So he said it will stop when police stop murdering people. Known as some of the parks and buildings we have are named after these racist people. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But then look at how our kids go down there and tear it up too. What does that say? I don't know. I mean, is this like some kind of curse on that park? We don't know. We don't know. Before I post all these articles, there was one story in here also. They was planting bombs and everything else. Wow. Yeah. They was planting bombs. Where's that story about that man though? But before I post all these, this is not my words. This is all in the newspaper. If you see some stories on here with y'all family, because it is some stories of people that I recognize on here about stuff that they was doing back then. Don't get mad at me about it because I'm just posting the papers for y'all to be able to read it, but not to be judging somebody's old crimes and family and what they did back then. Okay, so I do want to ask a couple questions. For one, how do we as a community get back to that same type of fight? How do we as a community put aside our differences? Because in my opinion, this is what I think should happen. I think we should have an all-black meeting with only black people allowed, only black people allowed. Checked at the door. And when you walk in, you got to sit your phone down on the table outside of the meeting. I think that should happen. And within the first 30 minutes of that meeting, you stand up, you look around the room, who you got an issue with, and you go over there and y'all squash that shit. Especially if it's like 10-year-old shit that we sitting here arguing over. And I don't care who it is. This is a call for anybody. Okay? This is a call for anybody. Have this meeting. We start off the first 30 minutes and we squash all the bullshit because guess what? We're losing. We're arguing. They're creating laws and coming down on us, and we're arguing internally. Our kids are dying. We're under attack inside our community, outside our community, and we're arguing, and our kids are killing themselves because they don't feel worthy, and then we got people shooting in the crowds. And meanwhile, this stuff that we seen in 1969 is still happening right now today with some of the same players. I would like to see in my lifetime, before I go, the unity of North Omaha, because we are the birthplace of Malcolm X. We need to act like it. We can lead by example. I would like to see for us, in order for history to stop repeating itself like it's doing now, I would like to see for us to come together. He said, I'm glad it's on 24th Street, though. Shout out to Mike Maroney. Seemed like a stronger statement, especially after the when will it stop statement. Right. And I appreciate Mike for doing that. So there's the historical marker, the street renaming, and there's another marker right at EODC. And also there's a plan right now for another celebration this year for Vivian. I wanted to do this for my cousin, not just because today is the day that she was shot and killed, but for the education of our community to know that this happened then. Look how our ancestors reacted before, and we still got that fight in us. It's still there. When are we going to use it? When are we going to exercise the fight? So what I'm going to do is go ahead and post these photos in an album called the Vivian Strong news article. And I'll post it on my page, and you'll be able to have access to all these articles. Although I didn't find the one that I was looking for, I know it's in here. It's just a small thing. But I don't know if y'all remember, but I had done a story on, what was that brother name? Rudy White. And Rudy in like 1972, a little bit after this happened, Rudy got pulled over by one of those cops that was doing the same thing, beating people up. The cop did a fake call in. He never told people where he really was at. And he tried to beat up Rudy. But Rudy had hands, and Rudy beat him up. And so he shot Rudy. And when he shot Rudy, he called in to the office, in dispatch, and gave a fake address so Rudy can lay there and just bleed out. Ernie Chambers, way back then, filed paperwork to have the United States government come to Omaha and investigate the murders by the police department. That's how bad they was killing us. That's how bad they was killing us. And they responded, but they never came. And so I think now that we see what happened then and now what's happening now, we got to have a change of pace. I found this one about her memorial fund. And this was put together by Ernie Chambers. And here's the places that were accepted money: Goka offices, Spencer Street Barbershop, OIC, Urban League Foundations, LEAP office, CEP office, MLK Center. Contributing to the collection were Ivory Ballard, John Goodwin, Curry Stewart, Bob Lewis, Leroy Campbell, Brinfo, Rank, and Glasses. They were also anonymous donations of $10. And the United Presbyterian Church announced a donation of $300. Or if any of those names is your family, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for what your family did back then to even donate that money to the funeral. Yeah, I'll probably have to find that article and post it later. But what is he talking about? Absolutely. Definitely need an all-black meeting. You were correct about past beef. I know some 70-year-old elders who have issues with people from way back when they was in high school. I believe it started with the black churches because we were all attacked and persecuted because we were black, not because of the denomination of preachers we follow. Right. You're absolutely on point, Brother Carter. If y'all really for the meeting, we can announce it. I don't want nobody to feel like, oh, we're gonna have this meeting and Sherman gonna get there clowning. No, you know what? I don't need to show my teeth no more to nobody because y'all know how I feel about the community. So we ain't even gonna go there. This is all about putting a brick wall right here between the old and the new. The old is behind the wall. We ain't talking about that shit no more. It's old and done. We're losing. So we need to drop whatever beefs we got with anybody and figure out how we can contain the safety, make it safe for our people in this community, and economically strong for us in this community. Restore North Omaha businesses. Bring back the revolutionary spirit of the black people of North Omaha. Act like we are the birthplace of Malcolm X. That's what we need to do. All black meeting, no media, no nothing, secret location, all that. And not even posted. I'll make a bunch of little slither papers with the all black meeting location and name on it. We hand to hand it like back in the day. Okay. This is what I'm saying I think should happen. If y'all agree with me, send a heart emoji, something. Because guess what? If we don't do it now, it's done. Our future is done. There will be only North Omaha historical facts, nothing in the future about North Omaha, the black people, nothing will be moved out. And North Omaha 24th Street will be the living quarters for the people that's coming in downtown. Because that's already what's happening. It's not a business district. It's a nonprofit district with living quarters. Okay? She said agreed. Yeah. Because I'm done with the beefs. I'm done. I don't care. I'm just sick and tired of it. I seen Paul, you made a post the other day saying it. It's too much division. And I'm not saying we got to come together in kumbaya, but guess what? The majority of us is already working towards the same goals, but we just say individual silos. We're in individual silos. And I know we had a blacks meeting before. We did here in Omaha. I was out of town. I missed it. But it don't seem like nothing came of it because we're still going through the same thing. Okay? So I'm proposing that we have an all-black meeting in North Omaha, black people only. Let's get all these little beefs out of the way. If I assume if you don't show up, that means you want to keep beefing and being individuals. Because guess what? We talk all this shit about the money and not getting money, but guess who's getting the money? Not everybody say Empowerment Network. They get chump change compared to Radius, compared to North Star, Boys and Girls Club, Salvation Army. These are all white-led organizations that has our children to use for data to get government funds to say they're taking care of our children. But if we had a big house of all the stuff that we do, because each individual, guess what? We all got these same programs that they got. We just doing it individually. If we had all that as a North Omaha fist to come get our money, none of them would be able to get that money because we can take care of our own stuff. Oh my gosh. No, this dude didn't say, when you see whites walking dogs on 24th Street, you've been thoroughly gentrified. That is true. Brother Stewart. I've seen white people jogging shirtless down 24th Street. The once famous Goodwin Barbershop is like a yoga studio or something now. It's happening. It happened in Denver. This is not just to North Omaha. Denver 5 Points was a thriving black-owned community. I went there this summer the spring for my birthday in March. The Black Business Buildings is still there. I walked into the black barbershop and guess what? It was all white dudes cutting hair. In 5 Points. The only black-owned restaurant they got left was what? The Welton Cafe. Everything else is gone. The buildings is there. The people are gone. How do we get the younger generation to fall in line? There you go. The value to life is important to get them from the Crip and Blood gangs. Absolutely. Man, I'm so glad you on this call. I'm on this live. Because the Crips and the Bloods are just other black people. Okay. And actually, they were started for something great. But we have to approach them and let them know what we're doing. Listen, we want this to be over. What can we do to get in here with y'all and figure out how to make this, whatever beefs they got? We'll find neutral places for them to meet. And we got to get these beef squashed. But I did notice last year, 40th Ave was handing out sack lunches from their neighborhood store. Some dude named Jay Hundo. Wasn't his name? Yeah. That to me, they want the change. But guess what? The devil came through, and after that, about a couple months after they was doing that, it was like 3 shootings back to back over there. This town is too small. I went down to a prayer walk yesterday for Jamise, and I seen the gang of my family. I seen some elder Snotty family members that reminded me of my childhood because I grew up with the Snotty family. I seen Jamise's dad. All these people is family. Every shooting that happened in this community, we're all connected to it. Why can't we get this together? So either we full of shit and we want this to keep happening, or we scared, or if looking back at what they did back then, I think they got drained after this dude was allowed to come back after all that fighting for him to get arrested and these demands and all this stuff. Yeah. I think the fire was blew out. When I talked to some elders, when I first found out about Vivian being my cousin, I already knew the story. I just didn't know we was related. They said that it felt like everybody for themselves. It was a huge slap in the face. We couldn't fight no more, he said. They were tired. All the businesses were burnt to the ground. They allowed them to burn and left them like that. We've been getting punished for that since 69. Just like a spanking over and over and over and over. And then they turn our district into a nonprofit district where people can come and get federal grants and say we live in the poorest zip code. Yeah, you're making it poor. You created the poor. You want it to be poor. So there's always this place to go and get a nonprofit business and say you're doing it and take federal grants and then pay salaries. And, it's the same old game. But there are some nonprofits that actually do the work. So what do? Are we going to have this Blacks meeting or not? I'm going to put it together. Yes, 2 degrees of separation in Omaha. Young people need to feel like they matter, and we need to find a space where they feel like they belong. That's right. And we got to get rid of, because we got the religion versus non-religion, educated, non-educated, grassroots, and other. You know what I mean? All these forms of division. But in this small ass town, we can take that shit back. It shouldn't be that hard. It's actually, to me, it's not that hard. But maybe it's because I know a lot of people on both sides of the fence, on all the fences, whatever. So it don't seem hard to me. That's how they do. Create the misery and then make money from it. Boy, that's exactly what they do. Now we are the highest incarcerated of young Black males. They getting $100,000+ per person in juvenile jails in those beds. So we are the commodity. We are the hustle. We are the lucrative business in Nebraska. Lock them up. Oh, the crime rate is down. Lock them up. Oh, we got the #1 re-entry in the United States. Why? Because we locking up the most motherfuckers per capita, Black people. That's why we got the #1 re-entry. We do not own most of the businesses or land that got burned during the riots. The people who got insurance money moved away, moved west and out of the city. So they got their money and left, huh? Yeah. And you see what the news guy said, that they refused to fund people and insure people in the area for years to come. We are the cotton. It's still going. And to be honest, I've said it before publicly, and I'm going to say it again. I think we could file a class action lawsuit against the Nebraska and Omaha City, Nebraska, the state, for the suppression, the purposeful suppression of North Omaha through unfair housing, through unfair hiring, through the refusal of bank loans, through over policing. There's a combination of things they have done to suppress us. Why not? What do we got to lose? And in the meantime, we have this Black meeting, end all these funky faggot ass beefs. Well, I said it. End the beefs and come together. Not as we working together, but to understanding that we need to move the needle. Marcus said, do it. All right. And when I do, I don't want nobody to say they didn't know. Pass the word. I'm going to work on it tonight. I already done planned it 1,000 times over, so I got plenty of paperwork. I would love to have the elders there to keep the peace, some moderators there to help with the disputes when they break into groups and talk about their disputes. Let's do that, because we only spending 30 minutes on that, and the rest is going to be strategy. Okay? All right. I'm going to get out of here. I done took up a lot of y'all time today, 1 hour and 30 minutes. But I just want y'all to remember, on this day, June 24th, 1969, Vivian Strong was shot in the back of the head and murdered by James Loader, who was charged with only manslaughter and acquitted for murdering a 14-year-old child. And like Carol said, they never gave the family a reason on why or how. They found him not guilty. No, thank you, Brother Carter. I appreciate y'all input tonight. I mean, I didn't live through it. A lot of y'all did. But it just still bothers me that today we're still going through the similar things that we went through 57 years ago. And here we are arguing about chicken and other bullshit. Seriously. And we still have an unsolved murder of Jamise. And we arguing over chicken. Shouts out to Off the Bone. But to me, I didn't find out about it until like the next day, but I still think it was stupid to argue over it. The brother was just doing something good for the community. Okay. All right, y'all. Piece of hair grease. I love y'all. I'm about to go ahead and make this post right now. Put all these articles in here for y'all to comb through. And when I find that other one, I'm going to single it out and post it for y'all. Okay. All right. Piece of hair grease. And thanks for tuning in tonight.